The Paladins of Voltron is a part of the Soon-to-be-named network and the Transmissions Podcast Network. Check them out at soon-to-be-named-network.com and transmissionspodcast.com.
Welcome to the Paladins of Voltron, an unofficial podcast about the Netflix original series, Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm Jeremy, and with me as always is Jason. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I didn't bring a coffee mug up to my face. I didn't distract in any way. We're all good.
All right. So this week we will be discussing the final episode of Season 3, The Legend Begins. But before we get into that, I'd like to remind you, if you'd like to send us feedback, just leave us a comment on the webpage for this post or email us feedback@povpodcast.com or on Twitter at POV_podcast or Facebook POV podcast or on YouTube. Just search for Paladins of Voltron or POV podcast. Subscribe to us, please, so we can get that alias.
Yeah, please.
So this episode was directed by Eugene Lee and written by Tim Hedrick. And it is a slightly different episode, so we'll get into that later. But the summary of this episode, we see Haggar apologizing to the comatose Zarkon for what she's about to do. But his empire is in need of competent leadership, and she does some magical thing and touches his face, and then she sees all these memories of his time as a Voltron Paladin. On the castle ship, Shiro is also demanding to know the full history of Voltron, and Coran goes into it. And we see the early Paladins that were just an agreement of 5 leaders, led by Alfor and Zarkon, that protected the universe from threats. After a victory, the Paladins had returned to Zarkon's homeworld of Dibazal to celebrate. During their victory dinner, a comet flies overhead and crashes into the planet. Alfor examines the comet and discovers that it's made of a material that can pass through realities. When they move the comet, they also discovered a portal to another reality. Alfor has called in his chief alchemist, Honerva, to come in and examine the rift. Zarkon and Honerva work together for years on Dibazal, examining the rift and the quintessence that it's putting out, and eventually they marry. They discover that quintessence is an almost unending energy source. Alfor is also discovering himself that using the metal from the comet to make some ships, he says that they're practically engineering themselves. As Alfor, Honerva, and Zarkon are discussing all these things, Alfor noticed a little black thing trapped in a device nearby. Honerva tells him that she sent some signals into the other reality, and this came through. Nothing from their universe has survived going through the rift, but this thing came through on its own. Alfor is concerned, but Honerva says that it's in pursuit of knowledge. As she says that, the creature reacts suddenly and calls a bunch of creatures to come through the portal. They're able to contain these creatures for a short while, but they're depending on Alfor's project to be completed in order to save them. Alfor takes the Paladins to see the lions on Altea and explains that he doesn't really know what they're capable of. However, he felt a psychic link with his lion as he was working on it. Each Paladin is chosen by its lion, and they head back to Dibazal. Shortly before they arrive, however, the creatures escape and combine into a massive beast that starts decimating Zarkon's forces. Zarkon leads the attack in the Black Lion, but these creatures are too much for the lions attacking individually. Alfor suddenly feels from his link with his lion that they need to fly together in formation, and Voltron is formed for the first time. Voltron battles the giant beast and eventually defeats it for once Alfor is shown by his lion how to create the sword. After the battle, Alfor says they must seal the rift, but Honerva refuses. Zarkon agrees with his wife. He feels there's too much to learn from the rift, and besides, now they have Voltron to defend them. Alfor says they've learned enough, and Zarkon says that he'll decide when it's been enough on his planet. Despite their disagreement, the Paladins continued to pilot the Lions. As Voltron's legend grew, peace settled throughout the galaxy. Years later, Dibazal has been having earthquakes. Alfor is concerned that the planet will tear itself apart, but Honerva will not stop her work. She reveals that she's been treating her cat with quintessence, and that's opened up a lot more research. After Alfor leaves, Honerva collapses and starts muttering things about quintessence and Voltron going into the rift. Zarkon returns to Altea and pleads with his teammates to use Voltron to close the rift. He has ulterior motives, though, and Alfor is blinded to them by his compassion. Voltron drives his sword into the rift, then falls into it, and the other Paladins see Zarkon exiting his lion with Honerva. As he's doing that, the creatures attack again. The other Paladins manage to grab Honerva and Zarkon after fighting the attack, but both of them didn't survive. The planet also doesn't survive. Alfor orders a planet-wide evacuation and destroys Dibazal to close the rift. After a funeral for Zarkon and Honerva on Altea, the two are loaded onto his one of the Galra ships, where they suddenly wake up. He discovers what happens to Dibazal and starts the war against the other Paladins to get Voltron for himself. When Altea was the only planet left, the Paladins did the only thing they could think of in order to keep the Lions safe. They sent them to the far corners of the universe. So now the present-day Paladins know the history in Zarkon's true mission, to get the purest quintessence. And in Galra HQ, Haggar is thrown back after seeing these flashbacks for herself, and she suddenly remembers who she was. And Honerva pleads for Zarkon to come back to her. So that is the legend begins. And I thought it was an excellent episode. We were talking before this that a lot of people are giving this episode flack for not being a good episode, but I love the lore, and I mean, we've never seen Voltron's history like this. We've seen various references to Voltron being created and stuff, but this goes, particularly with this series, this goes into the whole quintessence thing and the portal, and it's just a payoff on so many things they've set up already. And to see Zarkon as a kind of good guy, I guess he's kind of an anti-hero with, you could see he's still kind of warlike. I thought this was very interesting. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I do think the biggest problem people have with the episode, maybe not so much that it's not great or they don't enjoy it. I think that a lot of people were put off as to why the history of Voltron was the season finale, basically.
Yeah.
Now I argue it's a great episode, so who cares? But also we do get a cliffhanger at the end. Zarkon does open his eyes finally after this whole season basically in a coma or whatever it is that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get some movement there. But I see no problem with this. This is important to the story. And like you said, so many things have been set up, they covered.
Particularly the comet stuff.
Yeah. And that gives us hope for our little mystery with Shiro here that we're not going to see much for. Well, obviously the end of this season, nothing more comes up. Hint, hint, not much next season either. Sorry, everyone. But they'll get to it eventually. They'll get to it when the story needs it. So, but yeah, great episode. Yeah, plenty of stuff to talk about too. But I really did enjoy it.
This is very much a middle of the season episode for a regular season.
Yeah, Again,
So
this was a 13-episode season. They got the first half out so we could watch it. Nothing wrong with that.
and I have, like we discussed before, the 7-episode seasons, don't think of them as an actual season.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not the show's fault. It's your fault.
Yeah, don't get hung up on it, for God's sakes.
Yeah, just enjoy what you got. And one of the things I really liked about this episode were just all the callbacks to the original Go Lion material.
Yeah.
Dibazal was the Planet Doom in Voltron, was Dibazal and Go Lion. Haggar, I think her name was Honerva in Go Lion.
Dang.
I mean, so many things that they're doing there with the Galra. They're using all these Japanese names where they can. Even Shiro.
Yeah.
Like Shirogame, I think was his name in Go Lion. And now in the series, we've had both Shiro and Sven, so great payoff.
Although Sven's in Space Hospital right now, apparently.
Well, that's where Sven goes.
I know.
I love seeing that Dibazal just has such a unique look. It's not your normal round planet. It's a more of a comet looking planet.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't know, so much stuff about this, particularly like the Honerva stuff. You see her, she's an Altean that just becomes obsessed with her work. Maybe she's being corrupted by the, being so close to the portal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then you at the end, you realize that as Haggar, she, like when she was kind of reborn after dying, she had lost her memories of being Honerva until, this later point.
Right.
Which I thought that was a neat character twist, where when she was first revealed to be Altean at the end of last season, you assume that she remembered everything, previous, but turns out she didn't.
Right.
And I think that just makes her a more deadly, enemy for them to face.
Yeah, it does a lot for Haggar. I mean, we found out at the end of last season that she was in fact Altean, and now we know she was really important to Alteans and everything going on there, and with the Voltron itself. I think my favorite part of doing this, though, is they don't hit us over the head with, "Hey, guess who Honerva turns into?" Like, the character shows up, it's the same voice actor, it's Cree Summer still, doing a different voice, obviously a much more softer voice than Haggar's.
Yeah.
And Neil Kaplan is doing a... How close is his Zarkon to RID Optimus Prime in this?
I'll need to listen to it again.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that close.
Well, it's closer to that than it is Zarkon, at least.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's a friendlier Zarkon voice.
Yeah, exactly. But just knowing it's Neil Kaplan, you think, now I feel a little fire convoy here. So
yeah, the RD Optimus Prime is more of a gung ho type of character.
Sure. So, and then we get Nardi's cat, whatever its name is. They say it in the show, but we didn't catalog it for this episode. So that's a nice
catalog it.
Yeah. Oh. That's a 4-letter word right there. Scrabble, baby. So, and we've seen that cat with Nardi. We know that it has a connection with Nardi. Does it have any kind of connection with Haggar?
It was kind of interesting seeing Zarkon was terrified of the cat.
He really was too.
Apparently, Honerva's charms were enough for him to overcome that.
Yeah, his first meeting with Honerva is he sees her and then the cat scares him, but he's got like this combination of, oh, she's attractive. Oh, I don't like this creature. I have to go now. And it's just...
And she's like, no, this didn't come from the portal.
Right. We get to see the other 3 Paladins. We can't forget them.
I thought they were great.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I saw that Chris Kattan was in the voice credits. I'm not sure if he does one of the other Paladins, or for all we know,
look at that.
For all we know, he's the cat. I don't know. Chris Kattan could probably do a pretty convincing cat.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But yeah, we get just having the history, and we see the dichotomy of how it works. Like, Zarkon has to save him early in the episode because he goes into a battle. He underestimates just how many forces there are to take on. Prince Alfor, sorry. Mm-hmm. He underestimates how many forces there are, and then Zarkon and the rest of the Paladins show up to, bail him out, basically. So it's a nice little dynamic. You do see how, Zarkon is much more warlike, so there is a bit more of a, there's a line where the servants can't fraternize with the Paladins because, the serving class. So there's basically servitude and slavery in Zarkon's planet, but Zarkon still is a good guy, but there's still a little bit of what could turn him into what he becomes.
Like I said, he's kind of like an anti-hero.
Very much.
He's like that part of the spectrum.
Yeah, he's the Deadpool of Paladins of Voltron. Not really. Not anymore, at least.
No. He's the Punisher.
Ooh. Ooh. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just okay. Sure, it's not your regular cliffhanger for... Yeah, but it's not really... Yeah, it's not your regular season finale cliffhanger type show, but it's well written and it gives us a lot of background, and
I think it's going to end up being one of the more important episodes.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was interesting was, though, you see, after the Lions go into hiding, Coran tells how Zarkon killed Alfor after the castle ship had escaped. So I'm guessing, we know Allura was kind of tricked by Alfor to go into stasis.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing Coran stuck around for a little while to get the ship out of the way, and then he went into stasis himself.
Yeah. Yeah, and we actually see Coran, like younger Coran. We see Princess Allura, baby Allura, with her awesome helmet.
That was Lotor's helmet from Original Voltron.
I knew that looked familiar.
Yeah, that was a nice little touch there.
Yep.
And Allura looks just like her mother, because in that first scene when they were having dinner, I was like, wait, is that Allura? And then I realized.
Right. Which makes sense. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lots of nice little Easter eggs, especially the whole... I knew that helmet meant something. I knew I'd seen it before, but yeah. Very nice. So, just, the regular stuff they do.
Yeah. And one last question this brings up is, who is Lotor's mother? Is it Haggar? Or is it someone else?
I think it's Haggar. And I think that there's a very strained relationship there, as was alluded to 2 episodes ago when Haggar has Lotor followed.
Mm-hmm.
And Lotor doesn't like that too much and rips the guy apart, basically.
Yeah.
I fully believe that Lotor is Haggar's son.
Yeah. So, but does he know? And she obviously didn't. I mean, did she have him before the whole Minerva dying, turning into Haggar? I'm guessing she did, because she didn't. Haggar didn't realize that Zarkon was her husband.
Yeah. Huh.
So I mean, there's just a lot of questions there that I'm waiting to see answered.
Yeah, I just assumed it was after, but now that you mentioned that, it would make more sense for it to be beforehand.
I'm not thinking that Haggar would be one to want to get it on.
Well, hey, they're both. There you go. They're both freaky on quintessence, so who knows?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, who knows?
but no,
anyway.
It makes more sense the way you're saying it, for sure. And Coran points out when Allura was born, there's really no reason for him to point out when Lotor was born, because that doesn't really do anything for the story. So,
well, and Coran may not have even known about Lotor.
That's true. Yeah, for all they know, Lotor. Yeah, that's true. That was 10,000 years. Wait. Oh, that's a good point. This all happened a long time ago.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Zarkon to keep a son hidden.
Right.
And not tell the Paladins everything.
Yeah. So how's he been alive this whole time?
Well, he's been off in hiding.
Yeah, but wasn't Allura and Coran asleep for 10,000 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time for a son to be alive.
Well, quintessence experiments.
Yeah.
They set it up to Cat.
This is true.
Everything in the show is connected.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to argue that for a second.
We need a cork board with strings and stuff.
Pepe Silva. All right, we're getting to Pepe Silva references.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap up this episode and this season of Voltron. So we will, I guess, see you next time when we start on season 4, another 7-episode season.
Yeah, I think we're going to actually no, it's only 6 episodes.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a point to try not to have another little hiatus here. So we'll see what we can do. Again, it's our schedules. We can't go crazy and stuff, but if we can... Holidays
are coming up, so
yeah. So it would actually behoove us to get this recorded as quickly as possible the next couple episodes. So we'll see. But okay, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. And as always, please leave us feedback. All the information is in the show notes. And we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.